I hesitate or oscillate between artists being like the most, like, as I told you, like these two people I was mentioning before were like young artists in devenir, like becoming, like I don't even know if they are nowadays. I don't see them, but like they had this sparkle, like they had this light in themselves of the artist. Okay, that's a really funny sentence. It's like when my son was like barely talking, he was not making sentences, and we're in a city, we're in an apartment, and we're just the two of us, and we heard outside like a bird singing.
Hello, everyone. This is W, also known as William, host of the High Art on the Edge page, host of 2 podcast features. One, PCE, known as Post-Concert Energy, and this one, Surprise Cast. Mina Tindle is here with us all the way from France. Let us welcome her to Surprise Cast. Hello, my friend. How are you doing?
Hello, William. I'm well. And you?
Oh, I'm super excited to be talking to you. Could you tell the listeners what you do and where you are podcasting from?
Well, I'm sitting here with you, broadcasting from south of France, and I'm a singer-songwriter. I've made 3 records, and the 4th one is on its way. And yeah, this is what I do.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being part of Surprise Cast today. Mina, we're going to start off with something a little different that I do not do all the time with my guests. And this is based on a little personal inventory from a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I'm going to give you a few prompts, and I'd like for you to respond very naturally.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you may be asking why these prompts. I will tell you afterwards. Mina, please tell us and respond to this. My favorite childhood toy was?
My favorite childhood toy was probably radio cassettes, to play music.
Thank you. The best movie I ever saw as a kid was?
Oh, as a kid, probably The Wizard of Oz, but I haven't listened to it, like watch it, and since 40 years ago. But yeah.
You're not alone with that answer.
Yeah. But I remember all the colors and the music and Judy Garland and the red shoes.
I don't do it much, but I enjoy
walking, like hiking. I should do it more, especially where I live. I live near the mountains.
Sounds beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
If I could ease up, if I could lighten up a little, I would let myself.
Oh my God, that's a hard question. I would try to. I will try to be more like happier with where I am, and so not having to think about your question.
My favorite musical instrument is?
Probably my most familiar would be the guitar, and maybe my favorite would be the piano.
Lovely. Let's do a couple more.
Okay.
Taking time out for myself is?
It's something I know how to do. I know people who can't do it, and I know how to do it. I don't do it enough. Maybe that's the question. Yeah, the answer. Hiking and taking more time. But
if it didn't sound so crazy, I would write or make a
Mm, yeah, a musical? But that's crazy.
I know, but that's what's fun.
Yeah.
2 more. Learning to trust myself is probably
A lifetime like goal.
last one.
Hmm.
My most hear me up music is
That's easy. It's like Emahoy Tsege Mariam Gebru, like this piano composer, writer, Ethiopian. And it's literally the music that just like it's more than it's not cheer me up. It's like whatever happens, the saddest moment, the happiest moment, it's just the only music that I know I will never get tired of, or it's vital. It's not even cheering me up. It's just like the soundtrack of my life.
I like that. The soundtrack of my life. Let me tell you why I wanted to give you this exercise. Sometimes as artists, we get in the way of ourselves. Sometimes we are blocked with ideas for whatever reason. When we stop and pause and think about some of these things that we don't think about, it can unclog our creative juices. It can open the floodgates a little bit. And I'm not suggesting your brain is clogged right now, but this is just an activity and exercise people can do to tap into themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Nice.
You passed. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay. So I want to start this conversation more about your childhood. I want you to share with us, the listeners, and me, something that was impactful, something that was very memorable to you during your childhood that still affects you today. It could be a positive thing, it could be a negative thing.
Always longing, my eyes keep blinking. I see it my way. I see it my eyes can take it. I have to create a safe place for them.
Well, it's kind of easy because I just released a song about this person who is she's my cousin, and I didn't have any siblings when I was growing up. And so we were the same age, really distant cousin. If we just take it's our great grandmother who were sisters, but I was kind of raised with her being my sister. And so this friendship has followed me because it's a friendship. It's like it's in between family and friendship because we could totally have chosen not to be close, but we actually uh, learned to grow together and to follow each other and to making space in our lives. And it's happening with our kids now also, which is really sweet. So yeah, I finally wrote a song for her in that record, and it's talking about that, like when you choose a sister.
How did you learn to grow together?
We first like connect in many ways. Like we played together a lot. We sung together. We drew for like afternoons. We made musicals. We like, we would listen to the same music, laugh at the same jokes. And so that was like the whole, like, I guess this is what you do with friends or siblings, but also we would see each other only on weekends and holidays. So it's also like a super light moment to share. It's like not the burden of everyday life. And I think we just maintain that special time. Like when we see each other, it's always, we kind of create this special time.
So, what does this distant cousin, if you like, what does this person bring out in you? What good qualities?
Face. She's literally that. She's like a mirror that we hold to each other to like go on. You know, it's like deep love. We know all the weaknesses. We know all the the bad thing in our like personalities, but we deeply hold for the other one like a nice mirror.
Did you ever hit a bump in the road, a difficult moment with your friendship?
No, but really honest. So sometimes it's it's a person where we don't have to agree on everything. We can disagree. We can tell things that are not that easy, but I would say in French we have this word bienveillant, which we were talking with my husband, my partner, that it's really hard to translate. It's like when you have good intentions.
Yeah.
So this is what it's the word itself, bienveillant, doesn't translate. Oh, I didn't find yet like the translation, but so I think this is why I wrote a song about her, because I have a lot of great friendship that I carry on like all these years for like 20 years and more. But this is like a special one because it feels like it's really like it's kind of close also to like a parent with a kid, you know, where you have no choice but showing the good mirror. Like even if your kid, I guess, like hopefully right now my kid is young and he's great, but like I'm sure he will have some like bumps, you know, on the road, as you said. And I think it's what I felt with my mom and my grandmother and my grandfather when they raised me. It's like whatever the bumps are, they always showing me this like extremely good intention towards me. Like I don't come from like a religious family, but this is a face of love. You know, it's totally there and it carries you everywhere. So I was lucky to have that.
Yeah, this sounds like an incredibly beautiful, enriching experience that you've had with this friend, if you will. Last question. When I was 5 years old, I met my best friend, Dave, and we've been best friends since then.
That's wonderful.
It is.
Mm.
He has brought out many qualities in me. He's also brought out masculine qualities. So I'm going to ask you, Mina, how has this cousin of yours brought out feminine qualities in you?
Well, I'm not sure I will qualify that. It's just like I've been raised by women, and this sister is the closest. I mean, I don't know about the feminine. I think it's more like the sorority that it 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 kind of it was more obvious when I became a mother, but that it became obvious with any of my girlfriends. You know, that is a fair experiment. But I think before that, it hasn't been, you know, like obvious. Like I have really strong friendship with Mel forever. Like there is something, it's almost been like equal, you know?
Yeah.
So I haven't necessarily looked for like femininity, but it has always been around me. Like I was literally raised by women. So I don't think this is what, then it became obvious. Then it's becoming a mom. Then yes, of course, because you can share any kind of, there is a common experience. I feel like kind of universal in being a mother. So,
which we will get into in a little bit later. Thank you so much for sharing about this special friendship. It sounds pretty amazing.
La belle pénitence, je t'ai trouvé, donne-moi la mémoire blanche de l'été, je mets mon existence.
Okay, I want to read something to you. This comes from a book called Rememberings, written by Sinead O'Connor. Before I read it to you, do you have any appreciations for Sinead O'Connor? Is she an inspiration for you? in any manner?
Well, I'm not. I was so sad when she passed away, and I still haven't. And I've been listening for like a week her music, but I must say that I'm not the one. I'm not an expert at all. I've just like saw like I love this song, but she didn't write it. But like I love Nothing Compares, and her voice is one of my favorite. Like on that song, like I find it really heartbreaking. And then I know about like her courage and like burning the Bible and like being like her, and then like converts to Islam, and she feels like an extremely interesting character. But I can't say that I know enough. Like she just literally when she passed away, I was like, okay, I'm missing a big part of this person. I really want to know more about her. So you're just reminding me that. So thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, this is what Sinead says about her father from the book Rememberings. I tried to score some hash when I was about 15, but it never turned up, largely because the dude I gave the $5 to died. And no, it wasn't my father who killed him. The dude was an associate of my stepsister, and my father knew he was up to no good. Dude was lurking on the path outside my father's front garden one night, peering over the edge, waiting for my stepsister to come out. My father spied him and lured him into the garden with talk of, "She'll be out in 1 minute. Come on in." Then knocked him flat out on the grass with one punch to the side of his head. He was tall and lanky. My father is 5'4", like me. We get a little humor from Sinead here. We get a little bit of description of her father. And she goes much deeper into her relationship and how much she loved him. Tell us about the relationship that you had with your father whilst growing up.
Well, that's a weird subject, William, because I didn't have any, so yeah, I don't know. It's not that I don't want to talk about it. It's like, it's not interesting enough to, to talk about, like, it's just like an inexistent, or now it does exist. There is some residue, but like it hasn't been, he didn't raise me and he was not around. So, but I know him, but I would not write a chapter of a book about him.
About him?
No.
Interesting. So you were raised by your mother?
Yeah, and my grandparents.
Then let's shift that over to them.
My mom.
Yeah.
Okay. They're extremely loving, like different. So then I got like 3 parents, which was great, with really different personalities. So I guess in a way it was a really small community, but it was a community because it's a family, but it was kind of an old time. We're not living exactly in the same house, but I was really splitting my time with them. So yeah, that was just wonderful. And they're from the Mediterranean. So their roots are it's really strong and loud personalities, who know how to express love, are not afraid of conflict, or who really tell the truth, So this is how I was raised, and who could like move mountains for their people.
Did you say not afraid of conflict?
Not afraid of conflict.
You understand that's a rare thing, yeah?
Yeah, I witnessed it after the years because this is who I am, but like I know it's not the common. Many people that I love are actually not like this, So, which is it's good, because when I say conflict, it's like I don't like it. I really like harmony. I'm like I'm a peaceful person, really. But if I feel like there is something wrong in a behavior, I will speak out. That's it, Thinking like that because I spoke, the situation could be better,
Yes.
Not to just yell at people, but just to be trying to be constructive, to have a dialogue. It's like the basis of communication between humans, That's what makes the society a bit better. I feel it's like if you express your point of view.
Is your mom still alive?
Yes,
She loves being a grandma.
yes, she does.
Does she live near you?
No, but I make her come all the time. So we end up living close to each other.
She
We end
sounds
up,
like
yeah.
she sounds wonderful.
She's wonderful, really brave.
Here in America, on Sunday, we have a thing called Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Do they celebrate something like that in France?
They do, but my grandmother used to hate it, all this celebration. So I've been raised in a family where we don't really celebrate this kind of holidays because
Yeah.
like I never know when it is. Like now that I have a son, like I get some stuff because he make some craft at school and I send it. But like for me, it's like my grandmother would always say like, why celebrate one day? You know, like it's not. It should be every day. You need the love and the respect to someone. And then she was like, and now they created Grandmother Day. I can't believe it's like Christmas. It's only like a commercial celebration, which is true.
Sinead goes on to say about her mother's record collection. Listen to this. My mother loves music more than anything apart from cooking and in particular baking. She went to Cordon Bleu cooking school in town. She makes some amazing cakes with ornate decorations. She has John Lennon, Johnny Cash's Prison albums, Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong's Porgy and Bess, and Simon Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water and Sounds of Silence. Lots of Beatles records. And the Jungle Book soundtrack.
Oh.
She has lots of Elvis records. So, did your mom or grandmother instill the love of music? And if so, what kind of music were you listening to whilst growing up?
So yes, definitely this is coming from this family because it's more like everybody was always singing and singing together. So the love of harmonizing. My mom is actually an amazing singer. She has a kind of a Johnny Mitchell voice.
Ooh.
In between like Johnny Mitchell and oh my God, John Baez, you know, like really pure, pristine like voice, really beautiful. And so when I was growing, she was the singer. She was the one who didn't make a career out of it, though she had like the gift, you know. So obviously there is something there where I tried to do something kind of for my mom because she didn't do it herself. So I was like, for sure, I think that was like the little seed in my heart and brain is like, okay, if mama couldn't do it, I'm going to do it for her. But the love of like, and my grandmother had like the perfect pitch. So she would always find like a second voice, third voice, or, you know, so yeah, we were like singing together. And my grandfather is like a great tenor. Like he has one of my favorite voices. He's still alive. And so, yeah, so that was, and then like for the records, it's kind of everything you just said, you know, like that could have been in my mom, like record collection. And also some French artists that, you know, would be out at that time. And so I'm not sure that there was Françoise Hardy, but I think not a lot of her, a lot of France Gall. I don't know if you know her. Yeah, they're not really famous abroad, but Françoise Hardy would be the most famous. This is why I mentioned her, but she was not my mom's favorite. But yeah, I would have a lot of Simon and Garfunkel, harmony, people singing together, but then also Ella. I think Ella Fitzgerald is my mom's favorite singer.
So if I heard you correctly, Mina, you come from a very family-oriented background, which involves music, singing, harmonizing, which is pretty awesome. I want to move that into you as a student. What were you like as a student? Were you the creative type? What would your teachers tell me, William, today and say, Mina was like?
I think I was really, so my family had a musical background, but like nobody was actually playing an instrument or would ever consider doing a career, that was just like a way to live. My grandfather would like sing all day long,
Yeah.
so I did, and I think I wanted to work as a student. I just studied literature and like history of arts, and I wanted to work in museums or in the music industry, in festivals, but I didn't imagine I could be like a singer. And it just came kind of later, like I was already, I had a degree. I traveled, I lived abroad for like my studies. I went to Spain, I went to New York, and then I just like started to make music, but that was kind of unexpected. I didn't, and then obviously no, because it was all around, but like the surprise was like, I started to write songs. But if I didn't write songs, I don't think I would have been a singer,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have just kept that for like as my family, like as something you like to do.
Are you aware of the movie Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams?
Yeah, I haven't seen it it's been a long time. It's so sad. I remember one afternoon, like one night, I was a kid and like my mom got some girlfriends to watch it. And I showed up and they were all in tears. I didn't understand what happened. And it was like, yeah, because it was on TV and everybody was crying.
The reason why I bring it up is because I'm going to ask you this question. So that was a defining movie for me because it planted the seed as far as me wanting to be a teacher. So I became an elementary school teacher for over 20 years. And as I would teach young kids, Robin Williams was in my head all the time. And I would really step out of my comfort zone and really ham it up and act it up just so I could connect with my students. And I did this quite often with music and theater, and I had great fun doing it. So for you, who kind of planted that seed for you and like, you know what, Mina, you've got something here. You've got a gift. You've got a talent. You can share with the world.
I think these are friendships that I made like really early on. Like I was in a group of friends who like amazed me. I changed school when I was like 15 years old, and I ended up meeting all these new, extremely interesting people who are my age. But like I felt like so young, and they felt so mature in their interest in their culture. They're like they're kind of geeks, but I love them, like all of them. And I was, oh my God, I love geeks. They're like they're interested in philosophy, in music, in theater, in everything, in cinema. And it was such a wonderful. It was an eye opening. Okay, it was something that was in me, but it was really great to witness it. And then I remember like this. There was a friend who is not like a great friend and is not really a friend anymore, but like this person like wrote a song for me. I was kind of in love with this person for like a flirt, like a lead, nothing ever happened. But he wrote me a song saying like, you should sing, like in French. It's like, tu devrais chanter. And I remember like, but maybe it was the first time where I was like, oh really? You think so? And then, yeah, that seed was planted, and like years and years after, not years and years after, maybe a couple of years after, I went to England for like a summer camp, and there was this Italian girl who was so cool and rocking with her electric guitar, and she performed like after the 3 weeks camp. And I was amazed with her, and I was also like kind of not in love, but totally blown away and impressed. And we became friends for like a year. And so I visited her in Rome, and like maybe, all this talents that I was like seeing, I think I was just like witnessing how powerful and great it is to have music as a way to express yourself, especially when you're young and teenager and searching for like everything, the quest of your direction in life, of answers, and like having a tool, like an art creative tool, whatever it is, it's so amazing. It just makes you connect to people. It makes you express things that were really hard or to understand. For me, it's like a kind of a remedy for so many things. So I think I understood that at that age.
That's amazing to have friends like that to encourage that.
Yeah. Oh, but these two people I talk about are not friends anymore. I haven't seen them in 30 years, but like they were like meeting. It's like when you meet artists in a really young age. And then what I was sharing with my group of friends were like a culture that just like kind of a knowledge that, you know, year after year, it got a bit like bigger and I understood more. And then they made me understand. But like, I think the click, like the thing that clicked was like seeing some, these artist people, which were like creative minds, you know. And I'm like, oh, you can be that, you know, it's fun way to be.
Yes. And I think this is the perfect transition into your music. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to think really deeply about what I'm going to read to you because this comes from a book written by Ethan Hawke, the actor.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
This is from a book called Rules for a Night. He wrote this to his children as a way to express his love of life and to pass down wisdom. So this is what he writes in a little short chapter. One time, on a sweltering hot August night, Grandfather and I made camp down by the ocean. Grandfather said, "While I teach you about the ways of war, I want you to know that the real struggle is between two wolves that live inside each of us." "Two wolves?" I asked, seated on an old log near the fire. My eyes were transfixed by the flames twisting uncomfortably in the night air. "Yeah, one wolf is evil, anger, envy, greed, resentment, false pride." He paused, poking the embers of our fire with a long stick he had been carving. "The other's good. Joy, love, hope, humility, forgiveness, truth, compassion." I considered that for a minute, then tentatively asked Grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" Sparks danced toward the stars as the old man stared into the glare of the flames and replied this: "Whichever one you feed." So, in connection to you as an artist, the wolf sits in all sides of us. Sometimes it shows itself more than not. The darker side, the lighter side. I'd like for you to respond to this little story and how it relates to you as an artist. Are we getting the wolf more that has the darker side in your music? Are we getting the joy? What are we getting from Mina Tindle?
That's a great story, William. I like this tale. What I understand, like sometimes I oscillate. You say oscillate between, I hesitate or oscillate between artists being like the most, like, as I told you, like these two people I was mentioning before were like young artists in devenir, like becoming, you know, like I don't even know if they are nowadays. I don't see them, but like they had this sparkle, like they had this light in themselves of the artist. And so even now when I have a lot of friends who are artists or creative, and sometimes I find like this is such an amazing, being creative in your life is just such an asset and and make you, it's just such a privilege to like be able to like move a line and see something with a different perspective. And just like, it's literally like an asset to be like a happier or researcher, because I think we all are, you know, we don't know what we're doing. And being, sometimes when I have a problem that is not related to music or art or anything, I'm like in relationship, you know, sometimes I'm like, just be creative. You are like, I have to remind myself being like, okay, don't get stuck into like, this person is like this, we can't communicate, or I'm disappointed, or this is too hard, or I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, just remind yourself that you're supposed to have this spirit, like this mind that is like, try to find a third way, like it's not obvious, but you can find another road that lead you there. So sometimes I have the most admiration for or just the deep dedication to a subject, whether it's like art, or it could be, it could be history, it could be making a piece of furniture, work with your hands, or like all these people who master, like dedicate their life to, it could be like know how to make coffee, or dedicate to a subject. When I was mentioning all these geeks, like I think I have the most admiration and love for this kind of people.
Yes.
So that's the good thing. That's the good, that's the joy you're talking about. It also can be the most humble thing. I actually know artists that are extremely humble, that it is rare, but I know them. I know some of them. And then comes something really different, where sometimes you have the feeling that artist could be a monster, because it feeds with the ego. It's like a constant monster with an open mouth that needs to be fed, and it's never enough. And the more you have, the more you want. And these people, I know them also, are like extremely terrifying, not because they're monsters, but like you can see the monsters in them creating like insatisfaction, chronic, like they will not be able to necessarily like get somewhere, because whenever they get there, they already wants to be somewhere else. And so I think I've been struggling a lot in my music with that. Like I just made a record, and it's the fourth one, but I had to wait a moment. It was during COVID. During COVID, I finally had the record done. So I released it in that time, because it was a really weird time where nothing was happening. And I was like, I didn't want to tour. I was like a young mama. So yeah, this record that you hold it. And it felt that it was the right time to release it, because I was kind of relieved that I didn't have to tour so I was like, okay, here is something that is done. I was happy about it. But then I didn't write anything for 3 years or 4. And it's literally because I needed silence. Like I was not convinced about anything, I didn't have anything to say. Like, and I find like people were talking too much, or for me, like I was just in a position where I needed to keep quiet, not have people, or not adding my voice to like the cacophony. Like it was already too crazy. And then it just came again. So it just felt, I don't know about the monster or the sadness and the joy, but I felt like this 5 years also I had time to like grieve. Like I lost people. I had things that I needed to be processed. And then when I was ready, I could like, and then the moment they are in the song, usually it's a happier moment already, or it's just like a way, if I'm ready to share that with my people, or an audience, or like a listener, it means like I kind of process it already a bit, but not before that, kind of. Or, sometimes you say when you have like sadness, or you can't necessarily talk, or,
Yes. And that is a great response. And I want to challenge you on something.
Okay.
So when Ethan talks about this wolf story, and he talks about the greed, the arrogance, the guilt, part of what made me a successful teacher is because I took on some of those negative behaviors. I was slightly arrogant. I was a little bit jealous of other teachers who were getting a little bit of the spotlight. And I took that jealousy and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it even better.
Mm.
I had a little bit of that greed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this. Do any of these characteristics, these negative traits, appear in your life as an artist, or have they? That has helped you?
Well, I think you're right. And I think like successful, it's really rare that successful artists don't have any, even if it's like a slight, but it's rare. But I must say that it's still like a struggle for me, because like, who knows, I might have been like extremely more famous if I knew how to handle that, but like, I'm not sure. And I want to say, like, especially becoming a mother also like made me like even more not knowing how to channel this like characteristic, but I know there is a recipe. I know that some people, you know maybe it's not greed, but like maybe the one wanting to be the best version of yourself, maybe that's a tool, which is like, it's totally egotistical, like it speaks about yourself, and like, I want to be, you cannot compare, like if you do that, you are comparing to the other ones. But if you just like to see the potential in you, this is a sentence I tell my son, I'm like, try. I know it's not you don't have to, but like, I think if you are the best version of yourself, that could make you actually give you some joy. So, it's true. And I remember one of my purest and happiest professional time was when I released my first record. Yeah, I remember after this year of touring, and it went after like 4 years of really complicated journey where I was not sure it would be out. I was not sure, but finally it was out. It was the year I turned 30. So that's why I'm telling you, it was a bit late. I did that a bit later in life. It was not, I just finished school and I went being a singer. It took a while. But I remember this year of the 30 years old, I was so happy. I was satisfaction, that was like a good feeling. I was like, okay, whatever happens now, I can say that I did it. And it was such a nice, and then the fact that it was an object, now it's less and less an object, but the fact that I could be like, this record I made, I had the feeling to be like, the studio was like a workwood, like place where we just sculpt stuff and sound. It's exactly what it is, for like months and even like years, and then here is this beautiful thing that comes out, and it's an object, and it's nice. Like, I love some objects are like reassuring. They have a meaning. People can like lose themselves inside just contemplating like a statue or listening to music. So yeah, some of that, I don't know about this, but maybe just wanting to be, what would that be? Wanting to be the best version of yourself, or like honoring your potential, like, okay, that's a really funny sentence. It's like when my son was like barely talking, he was not making sentences, and we're in a city, we're in an apartment, and we're just the two of us, and we heard outside like a bird singing, a blackbird. And he looked at me and he said, the bird sings. And then he turned to me and he said, Mama sings. And that was just the most beautiful kind of haiku, like just came out of I think it was like, 1.5 or not, no, one, maybe, I don't know. He was not making sentences. That was like one of his first, And I found it so powerful because he didn't really hear me sing. So I was wondering, but I sang a lot when I was pregnant with him. I did a lot of shows and stuff. So maybe that was it. But he knew, he understood. It's a bit like when he understood what was a dog on a book for kids, where I was like, how does he know this is a dog? They're so different kind of dogs. And it's like, it's like your really old brain, that maybe can recognize, but I was like, how does he know it? Why does he say wolf? He say dog. But this dog is tiny. This dog is huge. He never saw all this dog. He doesn't know in the real life. He doesn't know. He just see them on books and he knows, he says dog, This is like the magic of it, having a kid. You don't understand how brain works, you're like, how? And so the fact that he defined me as a singer,
Yes.
it was not, you're a singer. It's just like, you sing. And so sometimes I always remember that. It's just like, if I know how to sing, just sing. This is just it's already a gift so big that you should just try to do it, and you'll see. And every time you do it, it does make you feel something different, that it's not accessible every day. So. it elevates a bit.
I love that answer. And I also love the fact that you speak to your son about being the best version of himself. So I want to ask you, Mina, what is the best version of yourself as a mother? What does that look like?
I don't know. That's the biggest job ever, you know? So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm still learning every day. The best version would be to try not to be too sure, like trying to understand who he is, who he's going to be, how to help. I feel like it's extremely humble, and maybe like share, like transmit, you know? Maybe it's something we forget to do, especially now that we have all these devices and it's stupid and we're just like not focused, you know? So this is a lot of time away from like the attention. But so yeah, the best version is like being focused with him and like, and laugh. I think if you can laugh a bit every day, that should be mandatory for raising a kid, you know?
So earlier you had mentioned how much you loved being raised by your mother and grandmother. And it sounded like they have some amazing qualities and traits. So I will need to ask you, what are some of your great traits that you have shared and passed down to your son? What gifts have you given him?
I think it's the same. It's like kind of unconditional love, you know?
Yeah.
So, or just to really feel that he's loved. He's loved and safe. And, you know, and not be like I told you at the beginning that I'm not afraid of conflict, but I'm really not afraid of sharing my feelings. You know, like it's mostly that. Like I'm not at all in conflict usually, you know, but like I am totally, this is maybe why I sing, you know, like I can channel and share what I feel. So I think he has that, which is good. He knows how to express already.
And thank you. And an area or two that you would like to become better as a mother.
Courage, maybe self-esteem or something like this. Like, you know, the fact, yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes I feel what we were defining about like, how do you, it does require some strengths to maybe accomplish some stuff. So like, you know, like whether it's like being a bit like lazy or scared,
Yeah.
you know, like sometimes you don't know what it is, but yeah, how do you keep doing more and better without being a dick? You know?
No, and I've spoken to some artists, particularly mothers,
Yeah.
who struggle with this thing called technology, meaning that their child is so wrapped up in technology sometimes they've lost ways of communicating.
Yeah.
And so as a mother, sometimes they have felt, wow, am I doing enough to promote good communication skills? So that's kind of what I was like, are there things as a mother that you know, like, okay, I know I can work on this with my son?
Well, I know I could like forget the the phone. Like the phone should be outside his, yeah. Like he's not using it, but like as a mother, he shouldn't see me with it because now he's only 8, he doesn't have it. But how can I tell him not to use it as like an addict in like 4 years or 3 or 5, you know, if like he sees me all day long with it, you know, that's not okay. So I think these devices are, I'm not saying like it was better before. It's not about that. Like there are some great things coming with it.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah.
really the addiction part that is like really screwed up. And I have an addictive temper, so it's really hard for me to just like, you know, get, yeah, I think it is like evil and it's really far. And like we're just becoming totally addicts, like all of us. So it's kind of sad. Like there is something sad about it. And I keep thinking like I'm gonna wake up and I probably will be tired of it, you know, after a while. But I can see my mom is not like in a way, like, yeah, she has like, I don't know. We'll see how and also he will teach me. Like, unfortunately, there is not much I can, like, there would be a limit really soon. This person will be in his present, and his present would be what it is, and I wonder how much power we will have to like stop things or.
Yeah, no, these are all good points that you're raising, and you're not alone in this.
I don't know, all screwed up. So.
People, particularly parents, are struggling. And I would, as a teacher, I would get this question all the time: how to balance their family life with their child without having so much technology involved. Are there any songs in particular that really tap into motherhood for you that you've written?
That I've written, yes. There was this on this sister record. There was a song called Triptych at the end, where
Yes.
it ends. It kind of tells like the journey of a body changing, but I was talking about someone really close who went through like a big medical problem. But it's like kind of the journey, and like the middle song is like kind of the boat, like kind of Ulysses, trip on with the sirens and stuff, and it ends with like the kind of dawn and sun coming out, and this for me was like the son, like my son, okay, like the kid,
Yeah.
kind of. So this is a song for him. So that was one of them.
I was safe, that's the danger. I was sorry, I would break. I was fire, I was ice. I desired it all at once. I was memorable for these ladies. I was quelque part.
And on this new record, there is a I wrote him a letter. So, I don't know if he would be happy about it, but like he will have a song forever.
Wow.
So,
Do we
yeah.
have a title for this song?
Yeah, it's called Toute une vie. It's in French, and it's a whole life.
Who's Thomas Bartlett?
Thomas is an amazing composer, a producer based in New York. He's been working with so many amazing artists, and like Anoni, Florence and the Machines, Nora Jones, so many others, like so many. And he's amazing he's a friend of Bryce and collaborator of the National for so long. And we started 10 years ago working together. He introduced us. And and I made my third record with him. And it's funny because I didn't see him in 6 years, and I just saw him last month in Dublin. We played together. That was really sweet.
Yeah, he's all over this album as far as his skills. It's pretty amazing. I'm talking about the Sisters album right here. And when you look back at this album, 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of feeling does it bring up for you?
Well, it was really COVID time. So
Right.
the record was made way before. It was just ready in 2020, but it actually had been made before. So it's a record I started before being a parent, then in New York working with Thomas, then motherhood arrived, and that kind of shuffled all the cards, like I didn't understand who I was anymore. And then I went back to finish it. And I also I asked him to send me all the tracks, and I kind of recorded some things also by myself. So it took like 4 or 5 years, or no, maybe less, like it's 3 or 4 to finish it. And then finally I finished it, and then I was kind of happy to release it, but it was a really dark moment. Like it was during the pandemic. So I remember like just doing all the video myself, like asking some of my friends some footage of dance. It was only women dancing. Like I asked my sister-in-law, my dear friend Indira, it was just like a nice being locked down, making art. So that was also like a nice, all the artwork and stuff were made at home. And so yeah, I like it. And I like all of my records. They're all, when I say that, it's not like I like what I do, but I never listen to them again, but like really. But I love, because every time I've done it with someone different, some different people. So it's such a great, it's like a memory of this time together and creativity and sharing. Like none of them are the same because they're just being really made in a different way. I am the only like, red line, you say, between like all the projects. But when I listen to one record, I'm gonna hear all the creativity of this other person, of these other musicians, and so it's wonderful. I think I would always keep doing that because it's what is wonderful, and also make you a bit surprised. Like you never really know what's gonna happen, So I love the magic of a studio.
So I interviewed a husband and wife, I interviewed a photographer who is married to a well-known musician, and they work together. And I asked her this question, and I said, what does your husband bring out in you as an artist? What does Bryce bring out in you as an artist?
Well, this new record, we've done it together. So that's the first one, the one that's going to be out in the fall. And so that was wonderful of us because we've been collaborating for years, but that was the time we would do that together, like from the beginning to the end. So that was pretty wonderful. I think it took us a while because first he is pretty busy, and it was not sure it was the right timing to like do everything together. But that was a wonderful experience. And so, well, in that case, when it's your life partner and then your creative partner can be the same person, it's pretty great, because if it does, even as a family, it's really great because I know we're happy. Like that makes us proud of something we created together. And we know for our son or for, that would be the record that Papa and Mama made, So it's really comforting. It's almost like doesn't mean that we have to do everything together, but it's a really, really nice new feeling also. And so, I think he brings, and also like as his skills, like especially he's really good at finding the good parts for every song, the good tempo. We had time to rehearse together to understand the tempo of a song, the pitch, if this has to be repeated twice or just, so he's good for that, to understand the skeleton of the song. And then he wrote all this like arrangement of like string arrangements that are just beyond beautiful, so that's his special skill.
That's one thing I love about your music, Mina, is that with the work that you do with Bryce, Thomas, whomever, there's space within the notes. It just doesn't bombard you with a lot of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? There's time within the music, within the tempo, within the arrangements, the composition, to think, to absorb, to reflect. And I really like that. And there's a song that you did that you just recently released that kind of speaks to this. It's called Rosa.
Oh, yeah.
Can we take a listen?
Yeah, let's do.
All right, let's take a listen to this track. It's called Rosa by Mina Tindle.
Je vois partir doucement le rose de toi, les noms, les mots, tout se repose. Avec toi, je prends ta main, je prends le creux du cou. Je serre tes doigts entre les miens, ce qui était à nous. Dors, dors, encore un peu. Dors, amour.
Okay, so do you want to give us a little bit of backstory to this one? Because it is a beautiful piece.
So this piece, thank you so much. So this piece has been written by Bryce, like the guitar piece. And I wrote the song really fast. And it's about my grandmother, and it's before she passed away. So it's really beautiful because I'm asking her just sleep for a little bit more. And so it's not sad because I'm just like, I know where it's going. I know you're living, but just hold on. Just not yet. Just a bit more. So this is what I'm asking her. And like, I feel like the instrumental like bridge in the middle is just like, for me, it's her quitting, like elevating, and actually being, and she loved Bryce. So I know she would be like, thank you, son, for writing that.
There is that bridge part that speaks of that. And I was actually thinking, and thank you for letting us know that, I was actually thinking that guitar work that Bryce was doing, I was thinking of more of that, of kind of the spiritual side.
Yeah.
To this experience. Wow. So in hearing that song, I know you don't listen to your songs every day, but does that get you choked up?
Yeah. Or for example, it's one song that I didn't re-sing it. I just had to, in the studio, I was like, okay, I'm just going to sing it once. I can't try to get, because if I sing it, I have to be transported and be in the right, which is different from every other song that usually when I record them, I do the tracks, then I love to edit my voice. It's something I love doing. But this one, I was like, I'm not editing anything. I'm just singing it once, even if I'm out of tune or if I'm blue, or but I can't re-sing that several times. So, but I've started to sing it on stage, and it's interesting. Like it's kind of it's actually easier because it makes me like actually concentrate and be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really lie with this one. So, and it's channeling her. It's beautiful because I have her strengths when I sing that song. So that's great.
What a powerful experience. Thank you for sharing. And there's another song here, and forgive my language here.
Yeah.
It's called Victoire Trésor.
Victoire Trésor. And it's funny, this is the one song I was talking about for my special cousin.
Yes.
So this is why it's funny, we released these two songs because I was like, okay, they're both love letters to like women, basically. And women of my life. And one is like, I've known since I'm a little kid, and I'm talking about this lifetime together. And the other one is like at the end of this lifetime. I mean, they're really related, So yeah, I wanted to release these two songs together.
It's a beautiful track, and let us take a listen.
Au-dessus du paradis, on a appris à amadouer l'ennui. On sort de hamac, on balançait nos vies d'une histoire à une autre, poursuivant l'insomnie sous les arcades, nos rires en cascade. C'était bien plus facile quand nos ennemis se cachaient dans les arbres. J'aime la victoire avec toi. J'aimerais voir ce que tu vois. J'aime la victoire avec toi. J'aimerais croire en ce que tu crois.
Anything else you want to share about this song?
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a wonderful track. When is this new album going to be released?
We don't have an exact date, but it should be in the fall.
And are we, you had mentioned that you had been working on it with your husband, Bryce Dessner. Will Thomas be a part of this? Will Sufjan be a part of this?
Sufjan has, like, so the musician are Bryce, Sufia, Ben Lance, our dear friend. Thomas is not, like, literally everybody came in the size of friends, and we locked ourselves for like a week and we did the record. So that was like Sufia and Ben, Bryce and I. And then like Bryce wrote like arrangement that we recorded strings like in Paris, but
Yeah.
we did everything in France this time.
Before we wrap up this conversation, I do need to share with you and the audience that are listening. This is my moment of vulnerability without getting too detailed. During the pandemic, something happened in my life that completely shattered and challenged my world like nothing I'd ever experienced. And it left me in a state of complete melancholy, depression. And I would often take walks to find some peace and comfort in my life. And as I took walks, I had my music on in my ears. And there was a song. To this day, it is very hard for me to listen to because it takes me back to that very painful experience. And I'm going to read some of these lyrics and I'm going to ask you about this song. I like the old way I thought I was hanging in there. You held back the worst rain from my shoulders. What are we going through? You and me, every other house on the streets burning. What are we going through? Wait and see. Days of brutalism and hairpin turns. Of course, I'm talking about Hairpin Turns by The National. I won't go into too much about the personal side of what happened in my life, but I will say that song in particular was one of the most painful and beautiful things that helped me get through that experience. And one of the reasons why I love this song so much is because I feel like it's moments of The National where they strip things down and they allow each skill of each band member to really shine. And they do this often in many of their songs. But this song particularly resonates with me. I get choked up just talking about it. So when I've seen it performed there was a concert video that was on Amazon and you're in it and you're singing this song with the band, it is spine tingling. It is absolutely mesmerizing and it's painful. So if you wouldn't mind giving us any little backstory, anything you remember of doing the backing vocals to this beautiful national song, I'd love to hear it.
Well, first, I think it's I understand how powerful Matt's poetry and The National, like, I know how, like, to have been on stage with them and touring, and I've witnessed the power of the songs, you know? So what I would remember is this was like a really special project where they decided to put women in front, which was like a really bold and great pre-Me Too like move, you know? So it was also like a great way. It was a great change, you know, to have all these dudes, like, you know, giving like space. That was great. That was amazing. And like I think the choice of women also was really interesting, from like Kate Stables, obviously, but like Eve Owen, who was like a young singer, and like Gail Dorsey, Sharon, like, was just like the best. Me, you know, like not necessarily like the most famous, you know, like singers, and was just beautiful. About this song, I just remember we just started the tour and the first maybe show, and in the same afternoon we recorded that video, the video clip. So I remember that because that was with Mike Mills, who was obsessed with this dancer that you should check out her name because I kind of forgot, but I know she's the most amazing, the Israeli dancer. And there was a beautiful moment where I ended up being with Kate, this dancer. We were also like all embracing this vision of the band and Mike together, trying to give a ode of femininity, you know, about femininity and about what it is to be a woman. Like it was a beautiful, and every time we would play, like the first round of the tour was like this film was broadcast, and then we will like have the show. So that was really powerful. I felt like, yeah.
With this song, going back to harmonies, all the way back to harmonies, one of the things I love about this song are these pieces that come together with vocals. And I think after the short bridge, when all of you really ascend those vocals, that's when it hits me the hardest.
Mm.
So I imagine in a very live setting, that experience must be even more powerful.
Well, yeah, but the show is also made for the listeners. So I think you probably have a better reception as a listener when you are in the room, because we have stuff in our, like, it's not necessarily the magic. I think is for you, that when you perform, you have to remember that sometimes the magic is for in front for the audience. But it's great that you've had that feeling.
When the National came to Stanford, California to promote this album, and you're all on stage singing, whether it be Stanford, whether it be in London, wherever you were performing with the band, did you ever stop and think to yourself, wow, what we are doing together as a unit, as a team on this stage is very, very visceral and powerful. Are you aware of that?
I mean, you doing it, the joy of doing it was definitely something that was invigorating. I was really happy to do that. So yeah, I could, and I think this is really communicative. Like if you feel the joy, then people can feel it, So I feel we were also really happy to be there with Kate, like singing together. It felt like a one voice, So that was wonderful. And then if like whoever would join us was also like another kind of it was really playful also. So yeah. And then it's a family, it's really a family.
So for all the listeners out there, I forgot to mention this is from the National album, I Am Easy to Find, which came out in 2019, a must listen. And I appreciate that you stated that there is a strong feminine quality to that album.
I like the old way I thought I was hanging in there. You held back the worst rain from my shoulders then. What are we going through? You and me, every other house on the streets burning. What are we going through? Wait and see, days of brutalism and hairpin turns.
My last question for you is, here we go.
Here we go.
This is from speaking of a female person, her name is Brené Brown. She's a very famous podcaster, has written numerous books. I was turned on to her work by my lovely girlfriend, Katrina, and she wrote this book called Atlas of the Heart, a very good read. And Brené likes to talk about vulnerability and courage within ourselves. So I'm going to read something to you, and I cannot wait to hear your answer. In this chapter, it's all about perfectionism. Perfectionism is a self-destructive and addictive belief system that fuels this primary thought. If I look perfect, live perfectly, work perfectly, and do everything perfectly, I can avoid or minimize the painful feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. Perfectionism is not self-improvement. At its core, it's about trying to earn approval and acceptance. So here's my question for you as an artist. Do you suffer from perfectionism at all in the work that you do?
Think not at all. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm honest with myself, and someone who know me would be like, "Are you kidding me?" But no, I feel like it's the way I feel it. Like I feel there is a big space for like authenticity and spontaneity that I don't mind. Like I love the accident in art, in life, and I don't feel like I suffer too much from that. I suffer from part of this job, and like I want it to be good, but like I'm also happy to be. I'm really happy to see that it's like not perfect. I don't think I'm looking for perfection. I don't think it exists.
And you're not looking for approval. You do it for yourself first.
Well, if it doesn't feel right to me, then obviously I will like not let it out. Like it has to feel, but it doesn't mean perfect. It depends. It's all relative, like for me, perfect wouldn't be like perfect for what? Perfect to be on the radio, perfect to be like a big hit, or perfect because it has to resonate with my guts and being like I could like be crazy about like a sound voice, being like working with a mixer, being like, no, this is not okay. Like it has to move me. So fine, do whatever you have to do, but just like I don't want the sound to take away the magic, for example. But then I can be a bit crazy about that. But it's not about perfection, because sometimes like what's gonna be great is like a really bad like or no reverb, or so it's just like I feel like it's a lot of spontaneity in life. Like so I like it when you hear it in the music, or maybe I like it even more. It depends. But like I think these days I'm not looking for like I think the gesture. Can you say that the move, the gesture can be perfect. The intention has to be there. Like if you can hear the intention right, then usually this is why I love Danielle Johnston as much as I love Nina Simone. Like when you hear Nina Simone, for me she's my ultimate goddess. She's my favorite singer of all time, and she's not the perfect singer. Like you can't say Ella Fitzgerald is like a better singer, but not for me. Like what's gonna make me kill me with her voice is especially because life is everywhere, travel is everywhere, in that like they're like something that is not. I think I have trouble with perfection. Like it actually kind of make me feel really anxious if it's too pretty or too, So no, I would not suffer from that. I think other stuff I suffer from other things, but not that.
I want to say thank you so much for this conversation.
It was great.
I appreciate it. And I'm going to leave the audience with a final quote that neither of us are going to talk about.
Okay.
This comes from the book written by Rick Rubin. It is called The Creative Active Way of Being. Art is about the maker. Its aim to be an expression of who we are. This makes competition absurd. Every artist playing field is specific to them. You are creating the work that best represents you. Another artist is making work that best represents them. The two cannot be measured against one another. Art relates to the artist making it in the unique contribution they are bringing to the culture. So thank you for your art that you have brought to our culture, this culture of community and music, the celebration of language and life.
Thank you, William.
You're welcome. My name is W, host of the High Art on the Edge page, host of PCE, Post Concert Energy, and this podcast that you've been listening to, Surprise Cast. Take care, everyone. And remember this. Great music is all around us. You just have to keep your ears open. Ciao.
My souls can change for